Shalom, 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 everyone. My name is Rosh Ya'acob Abraham, and this is the podcast, My Take with Rosh Ya'acob. Please like, share, and subscribe. Lately, everything been getting a lot better, so I've been, like I say, every week I'm going to try to make it better and better for you guys. I want to have the most professional podcast that I could possibly have. So I thank all of y'all for logging on, watching on a repeat, sharing. Hopefully it'll be more subscriptions with the shares. I see a lot of sharing and a lot of people viewing, and I really appreciate you all because I really want to get this Torah message out to everyone that we possibly can. A few things. Last week we had I love the chat. Let me just put it that way. I love the chat. I love being able to interact with you guys and being able to see you guys talk, and I got it set up that way in a studio where when you guys say something, it automatically pops up on the screen, right? Unfortunately, we had some guy on here last week named Wesley, and he I think he began to get into it with some other people in the chat. I cut the browser off because I said I don't got time to watch what Wesley is saying and to see what's going on. So I cut the browser off. But for the people who's watching on YouTube, they can't help but see the chat sitting there, you know. So what I said was, my normal brothers that normally come on here, so I was going to make them into moderators. And I wanted to thank Wesley because I'm like, the podcasts keep getting better and better, because now I'm at a point where I need moderators. I'm like, wow, you know, it was only the big league dudes that actually need a moderator. Like, I'm thinking, I'm not gonna need no moderator. It's just a few of us for right now. But what Brother Wesley is showing me is that we are growing people, and growing is going to be people that's haters, that's going to try to jump on and do different things. And in the midst of that, I want to be able to cut them out or block them or whatever has to happen. So I now opened up the actual YouTube so I can see it for myself. So that way, if anything like that happens again and there is no moderator and I have to step in, I will just step in and just block them out, because, you know, I don't want anybody to feel like they're being attacked. You know, just from brothers on here was going through stuff. I seen one brother going back and forth with him a little bit, but I didn't actually see the whole thing because I didn't watch the video with the chat so I could see exactly what took place. But I said we can't have that because that's going to mess up the show. And I don't want to let outside forces be able to just come in and do whatever they want to do and mess stuff up. So we got the technology to block people. So if anything like that happens again, unfortunately, I will have to block people. Like, I don't want to block nobody. I like interactions. I like talking. I like going through all that stuff. When people just saying belligerent stuff, they don't have nothing to do with what we're talking about. They just saying something because they got some kind of trolling agenda that they want to do. Then the trolls have to get blocked. That's just what that is. So again, I appreciate you all, and got that set up. So now we can get into this show and what it's about. So again, for those of y'all who don't know me, My name is Rosh Ya'acob Abraham. I am the rabbi of Gethsemane Spiritual Temple Congregation. We try to put out a lot of information and do a lot of things to help build up our community. So we are in our communities working and doing different things. And this is one avenue right here that I took upon myself because I want everyone to get an understanding of Torah. I sat around, I looked at videos, I said, man, that don't make no sense according to Torah. I looked at another video, I said, that don't make sense. I said, somebody need to tell people this don't make sense according to Torah. And then it was like, well, why don't you tell them? And I'm like, I ain't think about that. Why don't I tell them? Why I'm saying somebody, why don't I be that somebody? As Jesse would say, I am somebody. I am somebody. Anyway, all right, so I appreciate everyone for watching, logging on, all that good stuff. So we're going to get into our breaking news because we got a lot to get into. I really want to finish up on our brother and what he's talking about. So we're going to get into some breaking news right now. Shalom, shalom, shalom. So our breaking news for tonight is going to be dealing with, sort of dealing with the same issue that we were talking about last week as far as with the youth. I don't know what it is. I just came across this video and I'm like, man. Then I came across another video. I was like, man. Then I came across another video. I said, you know, we got to talk about this. All right, so the first video we want to look at for the breaking news. And remember, breaking news is the most intriguing stories that I came across for this week. News that was kept away from the main networks but are beneficial to the survival of our people. That's what our breaking news consists of. Now,
and tonight, lawmakers urging the Biden administration to provide explanations for the disappearance of 85,000 migrant children.
Now, yes, you heard them correctly. 80,000 migrant children. Again, 80,000. Let's say this one more time. 80,000 migrant children are missing. 80,000. No, my fault. 85,000 missing. Just out the blue, I'm like, wow, why does this stuff always come to me, right? I like, why does this stuff always come to me when I'm just able to see these things, right? I'm like, 85,000 children missing? Just out the blue, just gone, like vanished? Really? This is what's happening right now? 85,000 children missing. Let's continue.
Representative Juan Ciscomani has written a letter to the administration raising concerns about unaccompanied migrant children being handed over to adults and then failing to keep track of them. News for Tucson's Gabriel Paris is live outside the congressman's office tonight with more on what they're asking for.
Now, this is a little different from what we were talking about last week, where we were talking about kids or children that are being snatched off the street. These children are being delivered to people by the government. That's what this is talking about right here. So this is slightly different than what we was talking about last week. We was talking about children being snatched off the street, maybe possible runaways and that may have been gone missing, and the family members looking for them. And we talked about those issues. But today, this one right here, this is dealing with children that the government put in the people's hands, and those people disappeared with the children, and the government doesn't know where they are. And it's not just a few children, it's 85,000. Just let that sink in.
Gabrielle.
Whistleblowers are revealing that the Biden administration is releasing young migrant children into the arms of adult supervisors who have not been properly vetted with a background check. And that's coming from Representative Juan Ciscomani.
Now we have 85,000 missing unaccompanied minors.
All of those young children were processed through the port of entry here in the U.S., but now there are no sign of them anywhere.
These are the minors that are sent up by their parents with a last-ditch hope that they can make it to the land of opportunity and have a better shot at life.
Look at it. I just want y'all to keep this in mind. 85,000 missing migrant children. Now, the whistleblowers blew the whistle on this. So now what we see now, all across my timeline on Facebook and your timeline, is a bunch of our children now saying they missing. We don't know where they at. I don't know. I might be a little conspiracy theorist a little bit, but I don't know. Let's keep watching.
Now lawmakers are calling on the Biden administration to reveal how many minors were allowed into the country and were turned over to adult sponsors who weren't vetted properly. Representative Ciscomani says the House has ways to hold the Biden administration accountable.
We have the power of the purse. I'm in the Appropriations Committee, and we're gonna use any pressure point here with the administration that is necessary to get their attention.
Ciscomani says these young children are being forced into sex slavery and child labor rings. In his letter, he calls out health.
Look at what the young children are being forced into. Sex labor. Let's go back and listen to that part a little bit.
These young children are being forced into sex slavery and child labor rings.
Sex slavery and child labor rings. What is going on here?
In his letter, he calls out Health and Human Secretary Javier Becerra and Homeland Security Secretary Services Alejandro Bojorquez, accusing them of not doing anything to help find these young missing children.
We want to continue to drive resources to the border. We're going to do that, and they're going to come with accountability factors as well. Secretary Mayorkas and Secretary Becerra need to answer the questions that I asked them on these letters. Where are these kids? What are we doing about it? What are we doing with the ones that are coming in now?
Crazy.
We reached out to multiple Democratic lawmakers and still haven't heard anything back. Now, next Thursday, Title 42 is set to expire.
Think about that.
Shelters here in southern Arizona are preparing for an influx of migrants to come across the border. Reporting live from Midtown, Gabrielle Parrish, News 4 Tucson.
Crazy. Right? Then I came across another video that made it even worse, where they actually had the whistleblower. And here go the video with the whistleblower. Now watch what the whistleblower says.
Our final witness is Ms. Rodas, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chairman McClintock, Ranking Member Japal, and distinguished members of the committee. It is an honor to be here.
Crazy.
I thank you for the invitation to share my testimony. My goal is to inspire action to safeguard the lives of migrant children, including the staggering 85,000 that are missing. Today, children will work overnight shifts at slaughterhouses, factories, restaurants to pay their debts to smugglers and traffickers. Today, children will be sold for sex. Today, children will call a hotline to report they are being abused, neglected, and trafficked, and we don't know if they're going to get the help they need. For nearly a decade, unaccompanied children have been suffering in the shadows. And I have to confess, I knew nothing about their suffering until 2021.
She said hey, shalom, shalom. She said that, hold on, let me get this straight. She said this stuff been going on with these children for over a decade. It's probably been going on for even longer than that, right? And she got in there and found out and blew the whistle. They probably hate her. They probably she got death threats and everything. They probably can't stand her. They probably, what is going on here, right? But she blew the whistle. This is crazy.
When I volunteered to help the Biden administration with the crisis at the southern border. As part of Operation Artemis, I was deployed to the Pomona Fairplex Emergency Intake Site in California to help HHS, Office of Refugee Resettlement, reunite children with sponsors in the United States. I thought I was going to help place children in loving homes. Instead, I discovered that children are being trafficked through a sophisticated network that begins with recruiting in home country, smuggling to the U.S. border, and ends when ORR delivers a child to a sponsor. Some sponsors are criminals and traffickers.
Think about this. They are delivering the children. Then they got run out and try to kidnap them. They said, we take you to a loving family and deliver you right into the hands of some traffickers. This is crazy. This is really, really crazy right here. And now that she blew the whistle, as I said, again, I'm ringing an alarm. We've been seeing a big rise in our children missing all over this country.
And members of transnational criminal organizations. Some sponsors view children as commodities and assets to be used for earning income. This is why we are witnessing an explosion of labor trafficking. Now, whether it's intentional or not, it could be argued that the United States government has become the middleman in a large multi-billion-dollar child trafficking operation that is run by bad actors seeking to profit off of the lives of children. As for me, my interest is the safety of the children. I do not view this as a political issue. I view this as a humanitarian issue. I assure you, my motives are the highest and best.
Watch how they gonna cut her off. They gonna be like, your time is up.
I want to tell you
that almost sounds like a warning, boy.
Personally, at the Pomona Fairplex,
I
saw vulnerable indigenous children from Guatemala who speak Mayan dialects and cannot speak Spanish. That means they cannot ask for help in English. They cannot ask for help in Spanish. They become captives of their sponsors. I have sat with case managers as they've cried to tell me the horror of what has happened to children as they make the journey to this country.
Wow.
I saw apartment buildings where 20, 30, and 40 unaccompanied minors have been released. I saw sponsors trying to simultaneously sponsor
let me read what you said. Akoti said, this is demonic, proves that the U.S. is under control of Hasatan and people in charge are doing his wicked bidding. May Yah have mercy on us when his judgment come. Amen. That's what I'm saying. This is crazy. 85,000, Akoti, 85,000 children not just went missing, they was delivered into the hands of people who disappeared with the children, and nobody knows what happened. Somebody know. And now that the whistle been blown, all of a sudden throughout my time, because a couple of weeks ago I said, man, I keep saying my child missing. Like, all these children are missing. Like, what is going on here? And I know it's probably even more than what I'm saying on my timeline. But I was like, every time I stroll, it's a child missing. And I'm like, I'm just resharing it. Have you seen this child? Now, luckily, as we say last week, some children were found, but some weren't.
Multiple ORR sites at one time. I saw sponsors using multiple addresses to obtain sponsorships of children, and I saw numerous cases of children in debt bondage.
Yeah,
The child knew they had to stay with the sponsor.
it is real heartbreaking.
Realizing that we were not
Watch how he
offering
cut her
children
off,
the
though.
American
Watch
dream,
this.
but instead putting them in modern day slavery.
Oh, they get to it yet.
Wicked
It's getting closer. He gonna be real terrible with the way he cut her off.
terrible revelation. These children are a captive victim population with no access to law enforcement or knowledge of their rights. They are extorted, abused, neglected. And that is why I blew the whistle in 2021.
She blew the
I
whistle.
witnessed firsthand the horrors of child trafficking and exploitation. My life will never be the same after what I saw. But I have hope because I'm counting on you. It's my hope that you'll take action to end this crisis, to safeguard the lives of these vulnerable children. People have asked me, what can be done? What would you suggest? Well, first, I think HHS's number one priority is oversight. They must commit to oversight, transparency, and accountability. If I could wave a magic wand, this, I believe, could be quickly solved by experts in the IG community. There is a Pandemic Analytics Center of Excellence, or the PACE, as we call it. I believe if data analysts at the PACE could look at the data, children could be rescued, criminals could be prosecuted. If the PACE had access to this data, it shows where the children are and who has them. I think also we need to change the culture of speed over safety. Speed is the wrong performance measure when dealing with children. We need to revamp the vetting process of sponsors and have case managers who have investigative backgrounds, data analytics backgrounds, some certified fraud examiners. And I think we need to reimagine a system where the sponsor is the accountable party. Sponsors should be required to report to ORR. And lastly, stop retaliating against whistleblowers. Stop retaliating against the people who are trying to tell the truth to save the children. As it is written,
You heard that
man
bad
listens
hit,
to
bad
advice,
hit,
while
the
a fool
hammer on her.
continues in his folly, and HHS needs to be wise to care for these children.
Thank you very much. Your time's expired.
The time's expired. I don't know if I like the way that sounds. Maybe it's me, right? Your time's expired. Yeah, it's about that time, lady. It's expired. This is some of the youth that's missing. This is some of the youth that's missing, but there's one last clip I want y'all to see before we see this youth that's missing. This is a clip that brought me to all the information where I was like, wow, I didn't even know about this stuff. Now watch this clip. I'm trying to see if I can make it bigger, but it don't seem like I can. But watch this. This is at that same meeting with the whistleblower. This is the scene that I saw where they're asking one of the people who was supposed to have been responsible for knowing where these children are. They're saying, hey, do you know where the children, basically, you'll see. Let me just play it.
85,000 number of children that we lost contact with. I'm not saying you lost them, so we lost contact with them. We don't know where those kids are. Is that fair to say?
We attempt to make a safety and well-being.
I understand that.
Look how she don't want to answer the question. He said, he answered it plainly the question. Watch how she is not going to want to answer this question.
So let's get to the point here. Let's just answer the direct question. When you made the call, you didn't get a response. Your letter tells me that you usually make 3 calls. You got no response on any of those 3 calls and 85,000 kids. Is that right?
In 81% of the calls, we are.
You lost the question.
You didn't have contact with more than 85,000 kids. Is that fair to say? Is that fair? I mean, just yes or no?
Yes or no, lady?
We're not saying no. What's your percentage?
Come on, Ms. Dunn.
85,000
Yes or no?
children that were placed by you.
By
You
you.
made calls to check on them. and you made 3 calls on average. 85,000 of them.
85,000.
You have no idea where they are. You don't want to answer
idea.
the question. That's fine. We're going to go on to a different topic then.
Now, I didn't like how he said that's fine. It's not fine that she wanted to answer the question. She should have answered the question. She kept trying to play around with it. She should have answered the question. And then this guy right here summed it up. And when he summed it up, I was like, wow, I gotta investigate this further. That's when I found the other videos.
It's because America has become the middleman for human trafficking. She knows exactly where those kids went. Most of the time, they went to organ harvesting to other countries. They're utilizing the children as sex slaves and organ harvesting.
Crazy. All right, so this is a young lady that's missing. So far, she didn't return. It says, and this is from Lancaster. It says, this is my niece, Michaela, or TT. She's 13 and has been missing since last night. And this was on June 21st. So she's been missing since June 21st or since June 20th. If you see her anywhere, hit me ASAP. I got enough going on. Just want my niece home and safe. And again, she is 13. Next, stuff popping up. Next, we have another one that says, help us, our daughter is missing. Chantel Knights, she's 23. So it's not just a teenager, even young women are being snatched up. This is a phone number for people to call if they find her. 282-8284 and 339-0526 says, hi friends, my cousin is in Trinidad. Chantel has been missing since April 3rd. Since April 3rd, it's June. It's June. She says she's been missing since April 3rd, and we're looking for any information that can help us find her. She was last seen on her way to work in Caripe on Monday morning. And again, this is the information to be able to call to find out more about her. Yeah, I'm live on Facebook, so you're going to see a lot of stuff pop up. Next. This young lady has been missing since April 30th. Good morning. Days get harder and harder. My daughter is still missing. Please keep sharing. I will never give up on you. So now I'll look at everyone like they know something. This is just unbelievable. And it's crazy. So have you seen this young lady? And she didn't really give any information. But yeah, this is crazy. Let me see if I click on it, will it give more information? Okay. Yeah, so this is, so y'all can, Tisha Hale is who it is. And yeah, her daughter is still missing. Still missing. Still missing. Crazy. All right, this young lady has been missing since April 6th. was missing before April 6th. This was posted by Elizabeth White. It's from Macomb County, Alabama. It's been 2 weeks since 15-year-old Jordan Fitzpatrick went missing from a home in Macomb County. The teenager was last seen around March. So she's been missing since March 22nd. Jordan's family is deeply worried about her safety. Jordan could be in Auburn, Alabama area. Sheriff Andre Bryson and Macomb County Sheriff's Office are asking for public's help in locating the teenager and are urging anyone who might have seen or heard from her to come forward. Sheriff Bryson expresses concern about Jordan's welfare and his hope for her safe and speedy return. He urged, it says, he urged anyone with information to contact the sheriff's office, and the phone number there is 334-727-3503, extension 5. Have you seen this young lady? Since March the 22nd. I got them because I want y'all to see how many it is. This is what I'm saying on my timeline. It's even more than this. This is just the ones I've been able to click the share. Said I'm going to try to make sure I post them every week. Different ones, new ones that pop up so y'all can see. Because this is very important to find our children. It says she's 14-year-old Indigo Wilson. She has black hair, brown eyes. She's about 5'10", 110 pounds. Last seen Friday in Rosedale. So this is here in Baltimore County. Last seen Friday in Rosedale area. Unknown clothing at this time. Anyone information is requested to call 911 or 410-307-2020. Crazy. And she been missing since June 18th. Something in she said, I'm trying to think what Friday was. You know, my mind go blank as I get older. But yeah, she's been missing. And this is right here in Maryland and Baltimore County. Again, have this young lady that's missing. They said, if anyone's seen my niece in Greenville or Edenton area, please give me a call. It's not like her to not contact her family. Then he gives his number 252, or she gives her number rather, 252, and it's for Jeanette Rhines, 252-310-0210. Please share. So she was driving a 2006 smoky gray Charger, 4-door, no tint in the front windows, maybe tint in the back, side windows, and back window license plates. So to get her license plates, KETT 2310. Please find her. Everyone, please share everywhere. Please, need her home safely. Last seen Friday. And again, another one is just missing. And this is just crazy. And it doesn't give her name, but this is Jeanette Rhines' niece. All right, so now Capra Carter. This is her 13-year-old niece that's missing. Just left the library on Natural Bridge Newsfeed. They says she was spotted in the library earlier around 10. Me and my nephew out there looking at asking for prayers. So she got a Lilo and Stitch half hoodie on, and this is her. Wow, we see the please. And got one last one. And this is a young lady from Texas. She was last seen in San Leon, Texas. Been missing since Tuesday, June the 12th. The name is Jenny Serrano, age 12. Height is 4'9". And if you get any answers, this is the number you can call. Area code 409-749-7683. And she's been missing. So I try to click on her, see if maybe they found. Okay, so she's been found. Okay, I'm glad I clicked on it. At least it seemed like she's been found. I'm not sure. They assuming she's been found. But yeah, so there's a lot going on with that. So like I said, this is the breaking news segment. Always want to be able to give time for our youth, because this is something that's important for us, because this is our future. We don't want people to be able to snatch our kids up and do whatever they want to do with them. So I'm not sure if she was found. Someone said, these guys said she was found. So I'm hoping that they are correct. But if not, if any of y'all are in any of these areas, please be on the lookout for her. All right, and that's our breaking news for today. The next thing we was going to get into was the Kern of the month. And what I've been doing, I've been playing the remix video of the Kern of the month, so you guys can take it in and see this Kern with all his Kernness. But I got an update, and I was like, wow, like, y'all not gonna believe this one. So I'm thinking, should I even change the screen, or should I just leave this screen up with the update? Let me see how it's gonna look. So I got an update from this with this Karen right here. So let me switch the screen. I want to switch to something else so we can see the screen. So I'm gonna try to make this screen a little bigger, so I really want y'all to see what's being said and what's going on in here. Cause this guy, yeah, I'm gonna let y'all see where we left off at. This guy's off the hook. And I tried to just go on. I was just gonna show my little Karen segment and just move it from there. But this guy did some stuff. And I want y'all to really be able to see what he did. All right. Watch this. This is crazy, right? So, number one, I don't like to when I do stuff for people, I try to let them know, okay, yeah, I did this. So I don't want to say like I'm sneaking around doing anything, because it's not me. Right. For those of y'all who know, this guy right here is the Karen of the month. His name is Moray Judah Ben Yaakov, my son. And this started off with me trying to just kill some Lashon Hara, which means evil speech or gossip, and just end some bearing false witness against your neighbor, which is the breaking the mitzvah 37. The guy came on our page, he attacked us, said malicious things that were lies about taking a tallit and using it as a sweat rag or a napkin. Now, for those of y'all who know about tallits and you know how expensive tallits are, you would have to be a fool, number one, to spend hundreds of dollars for something just to wipe your sweat with it. When you can go to the Dollar Tree, any 5 and dime store, you can go to Walmart, any of them stores, and get a regular towel for $1 to $5, right? But this guy, he was trying to be smart, but he said something that was really, really wrong. He said that the Zakane at our congregation used his tallit as a sweat rag or a napkin. And I was like, what? So, of course, we exposed him. I went to his page. I tried to get him to say, hey, look, I try to follow the rules of the Rebbe. Rabbi Yashua Yosef laid it out for us well. And I would get into what he laid out, but let's do it that way. Okay, so let me see if I can bring this out. So I'm gonna bring it out a little bit, and I'm going to let me see. I'm going to try to bring up the screen where you can see I'm gonna bring up the Bible. That's what I'm gonna bring up real quick, right? So let me bring this over here. All right, so Bible over here. All right, so we're in Bible Hub. So I believe this is in should have looked it up first. Let me see. All right. All right, so I'm gonna go to King James because I know I got some Christian followers that listen, and I don't want to go to the Aramaic version and they be like, well, our version say something different. So it's basically the same. So I'm gonna use New King James because I feel like everybody can agree with that. Go to the book of Matthew or Micaiah, and we'll look at verse of chapter 18. Now I want to show you something. When we go down to verse 15, the Rebbe teaches something that's very, very good, right? Is it this one? Matthew 18:15. Okay. It says, moreover, if your brother sins against you. So let's look at this. Let me bring my picture back up. All right, here we go. Moreover, if your brother sins against you, go tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he hears you, you gain your brother. Now, I went to this guy. Now, y'all might say, well, he ain't your brother. Still, he's my neighbor, right? I went to him. He's holding titles, talking about he's a moray and all this. So I seen a picture with him and his wife and child, and I said, what is this guy doing right now? So I said, the old me said, blast him and get it over. Just go ahead and just say, boom, he did this, he did that, bop, bop, bop. But I said, no, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to, I feel like that's what he wants. He wants confrontation so he can feel like he's a hero and he's fighting against these blacks that's making a mockery out Torah. That's what he feels like he's doing, right? I said, I'm not going to do that. So I came to him and I said, look, man. I said, you lied. Tell the truth. You took a snapshot of the Zacchaeus with a tallit on and came up with some cockamamie story and lied, and you building up hatred amongst the brethren based off of your lie. He doubles down and tries to get in some kind of straw man argument with me over the tallit. I'm like, I'm not here to discuss the tallit with you. I'm here to discuss your lies. So then it says, but if he will not hear, take with you one or two more, that by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word should be established. So I go and I say, hey, to his people that he's lying to. I say, he's lying. If you look at what he says, you can see clearly he's lying. So forth and so on, right? The people stopped talking. At first, they was on his side, cheering him on, thinking he was a hero. Then they just stopped all of a sudden because they start thinking, dang, what if he is lying on these guys? Because I put up a clear argument. I said, if he was telling the truth, why is it no recording? If he was wiping it sweat with the tallit, you should have recorded that so that everybody can see it and say, oh my goodness, what is he doing? But you knew you were lying, all right? So then I turned around and went to his people. They start listening, saying, you know what? I think you got a point. But then he still refused. So what it says, and if he refused to hear them, tell it to the congregation. I know you see church is really congregation, or really the word Knesset. Tell it to the congregation. That's when I brought it to you guys. I said, okay, I suppose you're in front of your friends and your people. You still want to triple down on it. So now I'm going to expose you in front of everybody and show you for the kind that you are. Look what it says. But if he refuses to even hear the congregation, then let him be like a goy and a tax collector, right? So let's go back. Now, I always knew that it was about race. Many of y'all always say you blacks always say everything is about race. Every time something happens, you black people always say, it's because we black, it's because we black, it's because we black, right? I heard him clearly when he said we got him in the Philippines. And I said, what does he mean by it? He's talking about black people? They're practice Torah? He got them in the Philippines? He's mad about that? What is he talking about, right? Look at what he says. This is the update. Look at what he says. Ya'acob Abraham, wow, thank you for exposing more about who you are, Messianic monkey. Still don't think it's racism. Still don't think it was because we was black. I said it was because we was black. I said most of the time when I'm up there, it is me and I got my tallit on, the traditional way that the tallit is worn. Nobody says nothing. But it seems like every time there's a cane, they see there's a cane, they see this dark, strong brother. Yes, yes. He said it. Thank you, Brother John. I said that. I said it was about race. That's when he said this. I said, well, he thinking it's supposed to make me angry. I smiled because I said, I knew this what it was about. I knew this what it was about. I said, when does the cane get up there? It's like they see this dark-skinned brother, and he know Torah, and he sounds, and and everything is just flowing smoothly, and they say, who's this guy? And they instantly get angry and say crazy stuff. This happened in the Brown Jews of the World group. That's when the heat first started kicking up because they see the cane, and they say, oh, and they just went off. And now this guy did the same thing. And people probably say, well, you always try to say it's about racism. It's about racism. But when he says, he called me a monkey. Think about it. I said, I knew it. I knew it. Right? So this is the thing. So I just want y'all to see. So when I did the carrot of the mouth and I put them on people, some people might say, oh, you're going too far. Oh man, especially when I did this one. When I edited and put it up there, when I did the edited version that y'all say last week, and then I put it up there again because I wanted him to see, yeah, I did this and edited for you. You know, and I'm like, wow. But yeah, he called me a monkey. And then this guy jumped on later and it seemed like he was going with him. He says, maybe there's someone else who will sweat on it. And I'm like, wow, really? So you joined in with him even though it's not? So well, maybe he didn't see all this stuff. Because I had just posted this after I seen what he said and I shared it with him as well. So they began to talk about us. Again, trying to talk about the tallit when that's not even an issue. I'm like, how can you be so blind that you don't even see what the issue is? The issue is not the tallit. The issue is that you lied. I don't care if you don't like the way we wear tallits. That's on you. You know, I wear mine a traditional way. If other brothers I wear their traditional way, as long as you're wearing it. Right? That's how I look at it. As long as you're wearing it. That's what he wanted to argue and debate about, but he created a lie to try to bring about this conversation. I'm like, no, I'm not going to have a conversation with you based off the lie. First, tell the truth that he did not wipe his no sweat with it or use it as a napkin. Then we can talk about how the tallit should be worn, what's going on with the tallit. But I'm not going to have this conversation with you based off of your lie that he used it in his derogatory way, which you know he didn't. So he sees this guy. Now notice, if you see, he changed how he looked. He don't have his stuff up there no more because he was exposed and he's feel shamed. So he took his picture down and just got his wife and kids up. He took the picture of all the books he had on the background and put some other picture up to try to make it like, so if people see him in other groups and they may have seen this video, they won't know that it's him. They'll see it, but they're like, that's the guy. I'm not sure. I don't see no picture of him. So he took all those pictures down to hide, right? Try to hide his identity. So he says, and I don't want to, I'm trying not to really, I don't want to like I'm exposing his family or whatever. So that's why I'm trying to move it off. I don't want to highlight the picture that pop up. But this is what he says. So he says, J Law, there are reactions already from their gang members, especially the Messianic groups, as I expose this event. You see how stupid these people are. These people. Remember, keep that in mind, monkeys, these people, right? I'm talking about the Talit and its usage, but a mentally ill Ya'acob, Abraham, overreacted frustratedly because of what I've done to their elder. Exactly. You lied. I don't care about what you try to say about the Talit now. You trying to clean it up and dress it up, but you can't start off with a lie and then think you can fix it later. All you had to do was say, you right, he didn't wipe his face with the Talit or use it as a napkin. I just did not like how he wore his Talit. Then we might have a conversation, or I might say it don't matter and just keep it moving, right? But you said he used it as a napkin, as a sweat rag. And you can see clearly by what he says, maybe there's someone else who will sweat on it. If he didn't put this idea in their mind that the Talit was used as a sweat rag or a napkin, this guy would have never made this statement. So before we can have this conversation that he's talking about, I'm mentally ill and not doing, the first thing we gotta do is address the lie. He says they wanted to show the whole world how stupid they are. What are you talking about? It only makes sense, right? It only makes sense. These Christians who act like Jews have no place in Torah history, but all pagan in form of an identity. This dude don't know nothing about us at all, but he got so much, he built everything off a lie, and he just keep on building it up. Like he know, right? So he tells them they're not even worth responding to. And he says, you're right. When these gang members, now, again, gang members, but notice he's saying all this stuff because he wants to get a rise out of me. I'm supposed to get angry, but I'm like, dude, this is helping me to expose you even more. Gang members? Why we gotta be called gang members? Again, that's a racial slur. I want y'all to keep in mind, he called me a monkey. The usurper of duty must be exposed, and the world may know about the evil and his gang members brought in. Now, this is something crazy right here, because it says, according to Rabbi Manis, time is so precious. Do not allow foolish people to take it from you even a second. And I said, Rabbi Manis, is this that rabbi? Is this somebody that, because why would he talk to him about Rabbi Manis as if he knows who Rabbi Manis is? And why is he talking to him in this manner unless this is somebody he knows? Or somebody he done been in conversation with in times past, and they had to have talked about Rabbi Manis before. Why bring this name up? So I said, who is this Rabbi Manis, right? So I went to look it up, right? Because you know me. I said, who's this Rabbi Manis, right? And what I found was that Rabbi Manis is this guy.
Living versus existing.
This guy right here is Rabbi Manis. And I said, oh, I know who this guy is. So I'm like, evidently he must discuss it, or maybe they could be part of his Talmud. They could be his students, right? I don't know. But I said, well, what do Rabbi Manis have to say? So I found some stuff from him.
Someone else's choice.
You know, I'm trying to get to the part.
I wanted to insult this guy. He was.
Now, this is what he said. He wanted to insult somebody, right? And I said, wow, maybe he is his disciple. Hey, he learned from the best. Exactly, Aki. I'm just tripping, right? So, but I'm like, I don't know, because I believe if we connect them with Rabbi Manis Friedman, that's his whole name, would denounce them. He would say, I don't know nothing about these guys. These guys ain't representing me. I ain't representing nothing they said. Da 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 da. And he would disown them. But check out what he says, right? He says, and I'm looking at this thing right here. He's talking about, and I wanted to clip it just right so y'all can see it. But he's talking about the power of free will. He gives a nice understanding of right. I said, okay, I like that, right? And I said these guys need to learn from him. So let's listen what he says about free will.
You only choose what you want. How do you want to kill? Which means I wanted to put him in his place and really insult him, and I said something really insulting. He didn't get it.
Now, right here, oh yeah, hey yo, I hear you, Okoti. See, he's in the Philippines though. He's not in America. At least that's what it says on his Facebook page. He's in the Philippines, so he's not even in America. He was telling a young lady the last time when I did this, he said he got a lot of them in the Philippines, and I was like, what do you mean by a lot of them? He said a lot of black people. Right? I know some people probably say, there you go, I always try to bring some blackness in it, but now y'all see I was right. As Brother John said, you said it. I said it. I said it was about race. I said it. Right? But here go Rabbi Manis saying this guy made him mad, so he said something to insult him, but he said the guy was too slow to realize he was insulting him. I said, well, maybe they did. I don't know.
Went right over his head, and he wasn't insulted. So, did I have my freedom of choice? Yeah. And I chose to hurt this guy's feelings. Didn't happen. Why? Because it wasn't meant to happen. So does that interfere with my freedom of choice? No.
In other words, what he said is, I'm trying to cut to the chase because I want to get to what we're here for. And I'm about to come out of this in a minute. Just wanted to touch on this for a minute. What he said, let me cut to the chase of it. We probably can look at this another time to dig into what he's saying to see how we feel about this. But what he said is, you got the free will to do what you want to do, right? You got free will. If you choose to do good, you got the free will to do good. If you choose to do bad, you got the free will to do bad. But just because you make the choice to do bad don't mean a bad thing is going to happen. Just like if you make the choice to do good don't mean a good thing is going to happen. But the thing is, you chose, and what you did and your actions was either a good deed or a bad deed, but it actually taking place is up to the Almighty. So if the Almighty stops it from taking place, it don't take away that you was a bad person trying to do something bad. You still was a bad person trying to do something bad. The Almighty just didn't let it happen. Yeah, we'll get into this another time. I don't want to get too far into this because I really want us to get into our brother that we was here to deal with. I don't want to give these guys too much more time. But the whole idea from what he's saying is, if you turn around, like say with him, when he called me monkey, that was supposed to send me into a tyrant. I was supposed to went off and got on there and start cussing him out so he could really feel happy and get what he want. But I didn't do that. I left. And then I posted the other video on it and said, look at this video. And then, of course, I knew I'm going to come on here and let all you guys know, update on what our kind did. So what he meant, he did it for bad purposes and for evil purposes. But the Almighty, when he brought it to me, it was, now how am I going to react to it? Am I going to be the victim and let it be for that? Or am I going to use it and say, this guy? And that's what I did. I'm saying, no, I'm just going to use it to expose you. Why am I going to act crazy and wild? I already know I already knew it was about race. I already knew it was racism. I knew it. It didn't surprise me. That's why I called him a Karen. That's what most Karens do. They build stuff up off of racism, right? That's what most of them do. You know, and the guy, I had an interaction with the guy, and he was trying to tell me that I was shaming him and that I shouldn't shame him. And I was telling him, and he tried to tell me I was acting like a Karen by shaming him. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? You know, so I'm just to sum up what I said to him. I said, dude, this guy lied. So what I'm supposed to do, let him get away with it? I'm supposed to just not say nothing? He used his freedom of his free will to try to spread Lashon Hara and to bear false witness. I used my free will to expose him. That's what I was supposed to do. The wrath of the Almighty is revealed to those who hold the truth in ungodliness. Keep that in mind. I gotta expose you. And now we see even more that you racist. We see it even more clearer now. But if I would have never said nothing, his people and people out there would have never knew that he was racist. They would have thought this was a stand-up guy. It's a moray. They would have never knew that this guy is racist as hell. So yeah, what I'm supposed to do? You see what I'm saying? So enough on the Karen. I just wanted to give y'all an update on the Karen. I'm not going to show the Karen of the month video. I wanted to show it one more time, but for those of y'all who haven't seen the edited version, it's on my channel. It's real funny. I think you will like it. Every time I see it, I snicker and laugh at it. And at the end of this video, I will post a link to it for those who still didn't see it, so you will be able to see it. But it is what it is. So I'm not going to spend too much more time on him. I want to get to one of my favorite parts of the show, which is dealing with the artist of the week. And again, it's our sister Adaya. May she rest in shalom. Again, it's Sister Adaya. The name of the song is Praising Yah Forever. I'm going to showcase a lot of her music throughout this year. Beautiful, beautiful soul. In the description for this live, I got a link to an article that was written about her. She passed away few years ago in a terrible accident. She was living in the homeland, living in Rosh Israel. She was amongst Benamis people that left from here and journeyed back to Israel and been living in Dimona ever since. And beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sister. I love the song, and let's just keep her family lifted up. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sister. All right, so let's get to why we are here. So we can spend this last half hour dealing with our brother in part 2 of the sequel, this mighty sequel. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull his video up and we can get into his video, and it's called Who Are the True Israelites? Who are the true Israelites according to the Torah? No, my fault. Who are the true Israelites according to historical lineage? And then he says, he makes this bold claim that it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, yes, Akoti, yes. A beautiful, beautiful song. I was like, wow. And her whole album, I listened to the album. The whole album is nice. I was like, wow. So I said, I'm definitely going to be playing other cuts from my album. Also in the description is the page to her Spotify, where you can hear the album. You can look her up on YouTube. It'll play the whole album. Beautiful, beautiful music. I was just like, wow, beautiful music.
According to the Bible, who is the true Edomites and who is Israel according to history and all this type of stuff. So let me answer this question this way. I personally don't know who the true Edomites are according to the physical lineage. Neither do I really know who, I'll say, all of the Hebrews or the Israelites are according to lineage. I know who some of them are. I don't know who all of them are.
All right. So I just wanted to hear this little brief introduction part again before we go to where we left off at last week. So he says he don't know who none of the Edomites are. None of them. No, none of the Edomites are through the lineage. None of them. That made me ponder, like, you don't know who none of them are. And then he says, I know who some of the Israelites are, but not all. And it's like, okay, but this is the part that I want y'all to get.
The next thing I'll say is this. When it comes to our salvation, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Now, we tackled the different verses that he said. We tackled those verses. So, let's see. We tackled, I don't want to go too far. I think I'm going too fast. So we tackled a lot of the verses that he said. And that's what I said I want to do with the brother. I want to let the brother talk. Because a lot of y'all tell me, hey, brother, you don't let the brother talk. You don't let nobody talk. You just do all the talk. And I'm like, well, I got the video in the description if y'all want to see the whole video for yourself. But the whole point of it being my take is I gotta examine it, right? But I don't want to examine it too much that we don't get through it, or it end up being third one, fourth one, fifth one, like we did with some other stuff. But I had to do that with those videos because the brothers was watching, and I didn't want them to feel like I handled their material wrong and I skipped stuff and left stuff out. I wanted to cover the whole video, and we covered that whole video, and that joint was like my longest series within my take universe. It went up to 5. And that was about who's the suffering servant. And that's because I really wanted to look at all the stuff that the brothers were saying. I didn't want them to feel like that I promised them that I was going to do that. I said, I'm not going to just chop up what I want to chop up and leave stuff where I said, I'm going to go through the whole video. And I believe the brothers respected me after that. We've been cool ever since. And I appreciate them for even suggesting a video for me to watch, because they brought it all up. And I said, I'm not going to be like some people and just pop in here and there. I'm going to really investigate it. But let's get into this one. All right, so where we left off at, let me see.
Because all of these things in the Old Testament.
All right, so where we left off at was where the brother was, I believe it was about right here.
They're all parables. They're all types and shadows. The Bible theology, the Edomites can't inherit the kingdom. That is 100% the Old Testament. It all has a heavenly or spiritual meaning.
That's where we left off at, where he used Hebrew 8:5. Now, most of the scriptures, and y'all had to go back to look at part 1 because I don't want to go back over the things. I just want to keep moving forward. Most of the scriptures that he used was not talking about what he was talking about. And I said, that's why you got it with people, because this one got, because Brother Tony brought this young man to my attention. And just wanted to make that clear. Brother Tony brought this young man to my attention. And I'm going to talk about it from there. And we're going to have a real special show. One of our brothers hit me up. Next week is going to be a special show. So that's why I'm going to try to just close this show. Because next week, brother brought to my attention this video with Dr. Umar Johnson and what he called it, the crown prince of Pan-Africanism, and some different things that he said that's really been catching some, ever since the brother brought it to my attention, it's really been catching some heights. I said, wow, like when I seen it, I was like, oh yeah. But when he brought it to my attention, then I see everybody starting to just talk about what Dr. Umar said. So I said that'd be a good thing for 4th of July. So for our 4th of July edition of my take, we can look at that. Anyway, so we already dealt with him going through Hebrews 8:5. Hebrews 8:5 did not support what he was saying Hebrews 8:5 was going to support. It didn't. I was like, no, that didn't support that. All right, so let's go further.
All of it. And so, according to this theology, the Edomites can't inherit the kingdom. That is 100% false, because if you are an Edomite according to your lineage, but you receive Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and you are obedient to his word, yes, you can inherit.
All right, so now we see he brought this scripture up. It says, therefore, as by the offense of one judgment came upon all men to condemnation, even so by the righteousness of one, the free gift came upon all men unto justification of life. So his argument is for Edom. He's arguing for Edom. He's saying that if somebody tells you that if there's a person that's an Edomite by the flesh, they can't make it in, and he's arguing against that. Now, I don't know. I know some of y'all are probably like, come on, I know I can hear my brother right now in my ear. I know he probably about to type something. Come on, you know them Edomites. Now, I would say it depends on if, again, the Edomite was for the Almighty and really was keeping Torah and doing the stuff that he's supposed to do. It depends. Now, I know some people might be like, oh, here you go. Think about it. Who wrote the book of Obadiah or Obadiah? It was Obadiah, right? Did you know that Obadiah or Obadiah was an Edomite? Think about it. He was an Edomite. He's gonna make it in. So he can have a point to this if people really do confess and repent. Then hey yo, OA, right? You know, and it does say that in Romans 5:18. So it kind of cut off from y'all. Y'all can't see what scripture that is. Let me see if I can fix it over here so y'all can see it. I want y'all to be able to see the full effects of what's happening over there. Right there. So there we go. I want y'all to see the full effects. All right. So Romans 5:18, right? Now let's look at it. Let's look at the scripture though. Let's look at it in context. See if it does fall in line with what he's saying. It should be falling in line with. Let's look at that. Right, so let's get down this mess from our parents so we can look at some scriptures. So Romans 5:18. Even though he had it up there so we can see it, but let's look at it for ourselves in context. Because if we look at it, this is dealing with talking about Adam, the sin of Adam, Hawa, or Adam and Eve, right? That's what this is dealing with. He's saying, by one man's offense, judgment came upon all. In other words, by Adam or Adam eating from the tree of knowledge, that offense came upon all his descendants. Everybody. If it came upon all men. But now, by the righteous act of one man, the tzedek, right? It brings about justification in life. Now, as we look at this, we can say, okay, yeah, that's true. But what does that got to do with Edom? In of itself, it got nothing to do with Edom, right? This is talking about the act that the Mashiach did. So again, if we look at it just from how it's written and as we hear him talk, we can kind of see, okay, what he's getting at. But does the scripture that he's using really support his argument that he's building up? Not so much. The idea that people can ask to be saved and can be saved, yes, you can do that, right? But again, saved from what? Because the salvation that he's talking about is not the same salvation that the Mashiach came to bring. Now, in a way it is, in a way it's not. Now, I know y'all might say, well, hold up, brother, hold up, brother, hold up, brother. The Mashiach came to redeem Yisrael from the curse of the law. Edom wasn't under the curse of the law. The Goyim weren't under the curse of the law. The only ones who's under the curse of the law was Yisrael. So again, in him coming, it wasn't so much that he came to it wasn't so much that he came to just save. You know, this is right here we see, and I'm glad he brought this up. Right here what we see is how Apostle Shaul tries to bring the Goyim into it. The way he brings the Goyim into it is to go back to Adam. Adam sinned. So now, in order to be redeemed from that sin that Adam did, the Mashiach came and did a righteous act. So now everyone can enter and be saved from that. But is that the initial thing that the Mashiach came for? No. This is Apostle Shaul doing his job of trying to get the Goyim to understand how they can be a part of the community and what the Mashiach has done for them. And for all humanity, right? But the essence of what the Rebbe came for was for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, because they were going through the curses. It's to redeem them from that. So that's why it gets kind of tricky, right? Because he's looking at it from a Goyim outside of the promises and the people, and he's saying it's about everybody. But can you really look at it that way? That's why I say a lot of times those of us who are messianic do have Christian theology still pent up in our minds, right? That we gotta get out of that dogma. This is a classic one right here. This is showing humanity and trying to give the Goyim an understanding of the Mashiach's role in their lives. As Apostle Shaul began to think about it more and ponder on it more, that's what this is dealing with. But this is separate from what the Israelites was dealing with. Israelites was dealing with this curse. They was dealing with wanting to have the temple back, wanting to have like, people come back and had to unite, the kingdom build up. That's what all that's about. So it's like two different things happening here. So let's go back to our brother so we can see where he gonna come with next.
The kingdom of God. It doesn't matter what your physical lineage is. That's why theology is dangerous, and it is a deception, and it'll cause you to have hate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, he's trying to bring it all under the umbrella of the mission that Apostle Shaul brought to the Gentiles. That's a whole separate thing than what the Mashiach and the Talmudim were bringing to the Israelites. There's a whole separate thing. And he's kind of missing a mark with that. But it's a whole separate thing. It's not the same thing. So I get what he's saying. If I was a Goyim and I was listening to this, I'd be like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm with you, right? But man, Israel, and you hear it, you thinking, no, that's not what the Mashiach came for. If you ask any Israelite, any Jew, what's the Mashiach coming for? They might throw out about something about humanity and this, that, other, but one of the main things they're going to say is to redeem Israel, to bring Israel back to the land, to build up the kingdom of Israel. So that means it matters who you are. But he said it doesn't matter.
An offense towards people in your heart, which will keep you out of the kingdom of God. Having offense, hate in your heart towards somebody else will put you in a state of where you're jeopardizing your own salvation, all based on some stuff that plays no part in our salvation.
Now, I understand what he's coming at with that about having hatred and all that stuff in your heart. It can rot you outright. But that doesn't mean you overlook what people've done to you. That's why I say this kind of dangerous tightrope that the brothers walking, because it's like, are you saying we can overlook what was done to us by individuals and say it doesn't matter? Is that what's being said now?
So you got to be careful with that type of stuff. You know, there's certain information that I know about certain stuff, but I don't even know. I take it with a grain of salt, and I use it when it needs to be used for certain people that might be lost in certain mindsets. You know, you got a lot of people who are under the impression that Christianity was forced on black people or Africans from Europe.
Now, this is history. This history. This not something that we think happened. This happened. But watch what he says.
You know, that this was something that came with colonization. This is 100% fallacy and false. Christianity was in Africa before it was in Europe.
Now, what he's talking about is the Coptic Christianity, which is basically what we would say Messianic Judaism. the Christianity he's talking about that was already in Africa. These was people who were keeping Torah and believing in the Mashiach. It wasn't Roman Catholicism. Roman Catholicism is what people really mean when they talk about Christianity. They're not really talking about the Coptics, right? It wasn't Roman Catholicism. So even though he got the brothers right there with the picture with the cross and all that, it was more or less the Ethiopian style pictures, right? Because Coptic was messianic worship was Ethiopian. I remember years ago, a brother of mine that was a Rastafarian, and he invited me to his shul or his Knesset or his congregation, which was the Orthodox Ethiopian Church, Coptic Church. And when I came in, they told us we had to take our shoes off. So took our shoes off, and I noticed all the brothers had robes on, and I didn't know what to expect. It was my first time being amidst any of that, and I wasn't even this was even early on in my journey, before I went to the yeshiva, when I didn't have any idea about how a quote unquote Jewish ceremony would go in a congregation. You know, this was in the beginning stages of my awakening, so to speak. And I remember being at this church and came in, and the brothers began to chant stuff in the Coptic language. And I didn't understand what they were saying, but it sounded beautiful. And I was like, wow, that sounds nice. You know, and it was just different. And they went over to this thing and they opened it up, and inside it was a sacred book that I now know was the Torah, but at the time I didn't know what it was. And they took it out and they marched around the congregation with this sacred book, this Torah, and they passed it, and everybody, except me, because I didn't know what they was doing, everybody took the Torah and kissed it and passed it on down to the next person. And then they took it and went to the next row, and everybody in that row did the same thing. And then they came to me, and I looked at it. I didn't know what this book was. I just passed it over to the people beside me, because I said, I'm not kissing this, because in my mind there's some kind of idol stuff going on. I don't know what's going on, right? You got the incense burning, they chanting, they doing this, that, and other, and then they come back up, and the guy begins to read. And as he's reading, he's not reading, but he's chanting it in Coptic language. He's chanting the words from this Bible, right? And I'm just like at awe, trying to figure out what's going on. Why am I here? What this brother got me into, right? I was lost, right? They had the garments on, you know. I didn't even know what those things were. Right. So the brother got pulled up by the leader of the congregation. He says to him, why didn't your friend want to kiss the Bible? And I said, that's what that was? I know what y'all was doing. I said, I wasn't gonna kiss them. I said, I'm sorry. I wasn't going to do it. I was like, I don't know what is going on right now. I don't know what this is, right? But what I just shared with you, and hopefully y'all was able to catch it. If you go to any Knesset, they got the same way they had, everybody stood up, they said these chants, and it was this box on the wall. And then they opened the box up. And they took the book out, and then they chanted and did this processional chanting around with this Bible and passed it, and everybody kissed it, and so forth and so on, right? Guess what else they do that at? Any Knesset or shul you see, on Shabbat, you go into any Knesset or shul amongst the Ashkenazim, the Sephardim, the Yemenites, the Beta Yisrael, or the Ethiopian Jews. You go to anywhere that our brothers and sisters, the Igbos in West Africa, they open up this box. It's called the Ark. Within the Ark is the most sacredest of books, which is called the Torah. They take the Torah scroll out after chanting some prayers in a language that you don't understand unless you know Hebrew. They chant it. It's a melody. Then they do a procession with the Torah scroll. And as it walks around, people touch it and kiss it. Same thing that happened in the Ethiopian church that he's talking about right now. Same exact thing. That don't happen in no Christian church. Because if it would have happened, I would have understood what they was doing, and it wouldn't have been no big surprise to me. That was something new that I know now. After being enriched in Torah, after being in the shuls and the Knesset and those other places, I know this now. During that time, I didn't know anything about that. Church, people get quiet, sing, preacher get up and preach, and that's the end. People testify. Some say they might test a lie. That's the end. Here, something different. The Coptic church was doing something different. They was following the same things that we see happening in Judaism. And these guys weren't even connected with Judaism at the time. So where they get this from? He said the blessing, they opened up the ark, they took the Bible out, the Torah out, they did the processional, the people kissed it and passed it along. They got up, they did some chants out of the book and gave a message, just like happens in every shul wherever you go on Shabbat. It was no choir up there singing a song. The songs was the prayers. The same thing. They had the uses of the Sidurs. Like, what is going on here? So when I see them with this picture with the guys with the cross and all, they wasn't doing that. They had no cross in there. So the picture's misleading. So he says, oh, it was in Africa before. No, Christianity wasn't in Africa before. What the Coptic Christians, as they call them, was doing was not what the Roman Catholics did. Roman Catholics tried to do something similar with the incense. That's about it. That's about it. It wasn't the same. It was not the same.
You talking about Christians who were Africans in the 3rd and the 4th century. It's like that's completely false. It's completely false, you know? So it's like we gotta really understand our history for reasons like that. So either way, I wanna read some stuff to.
And then also, what he not tell you about the history is you can get books like From Babylon to Timbuktu, which shows you how, and even other historical accounts show you how the Inquisition was against the Black Israelites. It was trying to force them to convert. The Morenos, right? That's what it was all about. These guys who didn't want to convert, they were forced to convert. So we can't take that part of history out and repaint it another way. We gotta tell the accounts of stuff that happened to us. So I asked everybody a question when we first got into this. I said, he was talking about the true Israelites, and he was like, does it even matter? You know, and I ask, does it even matter? Does it matter if you know who you are? I would say it does. You can't deny your history for religion. Like, what are you talking about? It sounds crazy. But again, as I said last week, we the only people that do that. We're the only people that do that. Oh, it don't matter.
To clarify what I'm saying about, it doesn't matter about who is this and that according to lineage. It doesn't even matter what race Jesus or the apostles were whatsoever. It doesn't matter.
Why doesn't it matter? It doesn't matter when we look at it. It doesn't matter. It mattered when Michelangelo was painting pictures. It mattered when Leonardo da Vinci was painting pictures. It mattered when we had these pictures up in our walls. Now, grandparents and parents had pictures hanging up in the walls of Cesare Borgia. It mattered then. But now, when we say something about it and we look at it historically, it don't matter. Now it don't matter. It mattered then, but now it don't matter now.
We got to be careful with that stuff, and we have to really check our heart to know why we want to know certain things. People will ask me, what race do you think Jesus was? What race do you think the apostles were? What race do you think the Hebrews were? I don't know. You know, what I'm worried about is making sure that I know the word.
That's what I'm saying. See how we do this when it comes to us and this stuff? Why don't it matter? Why we don't want to know how these people look? Is you see all those images he showed. Let's look back at these images he showed. Look at these images. Only one image looked close to being a Bravo 2. All the other images look just like this. Oh, my fault, 3. This is the Ethiopian version.
You know, what I'm worried about is making sure that I know the word of God. I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and that I'm being obedient to his word, because that's going to grant me salvation. That's going to grant everybody that I encounter and share his word with salvation.
All right. So again, even if you take his stance, say you just want to know about the Mashiach and you just want to say you following the Mashiach, you still got to keep the Torah. You got some people that say, why we got to keep the Torah? Why we got to do that? Especially the Goyim. Why we got to do that? We not them. Why we got to do that? I just feel like we just try and throw stuff away when we say it don't matter, because before we start waking up, it mattered. If it didn't matter, they would never made images in the first place. So now that we wake up and say, you know, think about it. You say that you got your child and we see pictures of everybody else that matters. Barack Obama, first black president, right? Unless you count the brother when it was the 13 colonies, John Hanson. But if you ain't counting him, Barack Obama was first black president, right? And what if one day they show Barack Obama as a white man? Years go by from now as a white man. Do it matter what color he is? Evidently it did. What's going on here? You say it don't matter. I say documentaries on History Network. Can't remember the name of it, but it's the History Network. See the documentary about Hannibal. And most people like me that grew up learning Black history, and even as a young kid, we knew Hannibal was Black. But the documentary, and it says he was a North African. The documentary has him as a white man, and the Africans is white. conquering Europe on elephants. That's it. And it was even crazy because it says these strong Africans. And it's showing these white people. And I was like, get out of here. That's what I mean when it says it doesn't matter. It does matter. It does matter to make sure everything is accurate. It matters. We say this to just try to just get out of this. Oh, it don't really matter. It does matter. I know I'm about to close up. I know this is the longest one yet, so I'm about to close up.
And looking at anybody according to the flesh is to be in error. Jesus literally says, "Look to no man after the flesh." He says there is nothing good within our flesh.
All right, again, he says the Mashiach actually says stuff, but he's showing us 2 Corinthians. We know that wasn't a Mashiach who said something in 2 Corinthians. Who was that, everyone? Apostle Shaul. But see how he says the Mashiach said it, and then he shows us Apostle Shaul, and then he said the Mashiach even said this in Rome, Romans 7:18. Who else? Who was that? Was that the Mashiach? No, that was Apostle Shaul. So number one, I don't like how he says even the Mashiach said this, the Mashiach says that, but yet he's not showing the Mashiach saying it. He's showing Apostle Shaul saying it. I'm like, okay. Let me see. I wanted to do something, but let me see. I think I'm just gonna close it out at this point. I might come back to this brother's video and get more into it. I gave y'all that update of the Karen of the month, and that kind of took away from a lot of stuff. Also, all those missing children, that really took up a bulk of the show, but I just feel like that's important for us to know about these missing children. I just feel like that's important. But we did get a lot of good information even out of this brother as well. You know, so we got some good information. As I said, next week, our 4th of July show. 4th of July. So next we're gonna have a 4th of July show, and our 4th of July show is going to be dealing with this thing that the crowned prince of Pan-Africanism has stirred up a pot. So we're going to touch and deal with that. I think that's going to be a real good show. Really going to try to dig into what it is that he's saying. I think we got the gist of it. The main thing that the brother is trying to say is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But yet it mattered before we start thinking about it. And that's my only problem with that argument. When we say it doesn't matter. Number one, it does matter, as I showed last week, for different aspects of salvation, because we got to understand what the salvation was about. And as I touched on again this week, but really got into it last week. So it does matter. But even just the idea of it don't matter how the people look, it don't matter. I just feel like, okay, well, then people need to stop talking about how they look. Stop making these movies, making them look this way or that way. If it don't really matter. But it does matter. Especially to a people who've been downtrodden and oppressed. If the Mashiach looks like them, that's powerful. But if the Mashiach looks like the oppressor, that's depressing. So it does matter. I think we need to stop saying it doesn't matter. I understand he wants to try to break away from different things and he feels a certain way about certain people. I got him. but it does matter. It matters. So again, next week, I'm going to go through, I'm gonna put it up for y'all tomorrow so we can get into it. The Crown Prince of Pan-Africanism, Dr. Umar Johnson. We'll be dealing with some stuff that he stirred up with. Yeah, gonna be dealing with him. And some stuff that he stirred us up with. And I really think that you guys are going to like it. Where we're going to go with this, I think you guys are going to really enjoy, and we're going to be able to go from there. And again, my brother Nehemiah ben Avraham asked me to speak on this. He brought it to my attention, and if there's anybody that you all want me to talk about or deal with, just send me a message, drop it in. Y'all got my Facebook. That's what he did. He went straight to my Facebook. Ya'acob Avraham went straight to my Facebook, and he sent me a message and said, "Hey, brother, check this out. Talk about this." All right, and I was like, "Hey, that's what it is." So now I'm gonna be dealing with that. I said that'll make a perfect show for the 4th of July. So we're gonna definitely put all the bells and whistles out for that show. I'm happy that all y'all was able to be here with us tonight. I just wanted to apologize for being kind of late tonight, but I know I spent a lot of time dealing with the update on the Karen, but I really wanted y'all to see that it was about racism, because a lot of times people think we just make stuff up, and it ain't all about racism and black this and black that. But as y'all seen from his comment to me, that's exactly what it was about. So again, I appreciate you all logging on with me, being on with me. Can't wait to see you all next week as we do our next show. And I want to bid you all a mighty, mighty shalom.
Shema Israel Adonai